What I'd like to do next is introduce a company with a very long history with PTC. In fact, when it comes to history with PTC, nobody goes back further than John Deere. John Deere bought the very first 2 seats of Pro Engineer back in 1988. And right now, I'd like to introduce Brian Rauch. Brian's going to share with you how John Deere is using PTC solutions to drive their global growth. Brian?
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. My company is an American icon. In 1837, we were formed after John Deere, the blacksmith, invented the self-scouring steel plow to work the fields in the American Midwest. Since that time, we've been dedicated to serving customers who are linked to the land. Customers in agriculture, construction, forestry, and turf. We've been focused with our heritage on quality and customer commitment. It's a great legacy to have. But of course, everything has to change. In 2010, we publicly stated we wanted to grow our company. We wanted to grow from $25 billion in revenue to, by 2018, to $50 billion. Double the company in 8 years. Not a hugely auspicious goal, but a very big goal. But actually, it was actually more than just that statement. What we were telling people is that instead of being a company that actually took premium products from Western Europe and North America and exported them around the world, maybe de-featured them to fit different price points, we're going to be truly a global company. We develop products to compete at different price points all around the world, in the BRIC countries, and be able to be a different company than we've been in the past. So it was a big goal. It changed how we developed products, how we thought about it. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we're doing and how we're doing in that journey. It actually started prior to this. In 2007, in the division that I'm in, construction and forestry, we looked at our PDM environment and said we need to be different. We needed to build workflow into what we were doing. We had to be able to interrogate more how we're using the data. So we actually did an update. We looked at our PDM link environment. We built the workflow in so we could have consistent process application, so we could look at the information as it progressed through the process and be much better in what we were doing. Matter of fact, that was our tool to communicate and be able to be scalable. And we learned a lot. Matter of fact, the chart behind me shows a little bit of that background. We were managing roughly 250,000 parts, and for 3 product lines, we looked at what we called first pass yield. And what that means is actually we looked at how many parts were promoted to production that didn't change in that first year of production. And we found somewhere between 54 and 63% of the parts stayed the same. Now, a lot of the changes were small and innocuous. They were things related to call-outs and supplier requirements. But it was a big deal. That represented rework and a failure of the process. By looking at these reports and our workflow, we were able to work backwards and ask ourselves, how do we eliminate that? How do we improve our productivity? And you can see the data in 2012. Those groups all had between a 20 and a 30% improvement in output. That's substantial. And we got that by taking our PDM environment, instead of being just data archival, to building our workflow into it, to giving us more information, to let us interrogate it. And we got a lot out of that. That's the foundation for growing our business, being able to do that and share it around in different places around the world. This video of a wheel loader looks like a wheel loader in many places around the world. It's working action and aggregate application. But this is a special wheel loader. This product actually isn't really sold in North America or Western Europe. It's a wheel loader that actually has a fit around the world, and it's a frugal product. It costs half of the product that we build in North America and sell around the world. But it's the right product, the right price point for an awful lot of customers. And as we looked at that 2018 goal, we had to have a whole bunch of these products, not just in my division, but the agricultural division. And to do this, you had to be able to develop it in those markets. You had to be closer to those customers and those suppliers. And let me tell you a little bit about the story of this product. In 2009, we launched a project, and it was very important to us that actually we do it right. That actually, matter of fact, we looked at China as the target market. It's the largest market in the world for products like this, but it is a global product. But we had a new group of engineers there. We had a new factory we were building to develop and sell these type of products. So we took just a couple of our engineers from North America, people with a deep background on what a wheel loader is, and said, we want you to have the basics. What's the framework? How long it ought to be? What the power ought to be? And the very basics of how it should be balanced. But we wanted the engineers in India and China to be the ones that owned it, developed it, worked with the suppliers, and interacted with the customers, and understood that they had to do things differently. They had to be at a different price point. As a matter of fact, we handed off to that group. We started out with a PDM Link environment, and we passed it off using Pro-E and the very basics of how we work together. That 2007 environment of workflow translated to this group of people that we worked with. Here's an image of some of these engineers in China working with the data, talking about not only how to be manufactured but serviced and how the customers would perceive that product. It involved very rich conversations between the engineers in the United States, India, and China. And so where are we at? Matter of fact, we're selling these products. We started in 2009. We built a factory. We've produced a number of products. You can see the Chinese team in front of the first machine off the end of the assembly line. That was at the beginning of this calendar year. These products are shipping to Russia, Argentina, China. And what's really great is, as a matter of fact, it's a product we're proud of. It's a John Deere product. It might be half the price point. It might have less features, but it's got our quality. It's got our commitment to the customers, and it represents what's really John Deere. And being able to scale that and translate it is very important with the communication tools and the processes that we're able to have. And PTC was a big part of how we were able to do that, creating the right environments, the ability to share IP, and the ability to execute a project like that. You know, Jim talked about personalization or diversity with scale. As we look forward, we've got a lot of challenges, and we're working on a couple of projects with PTC to develop a better environment for the future. I just want to share with you this image here. This represents 6 John Deere products. Matter of fact, these are some of our premium products. And we built tens of thousands of these, but a whole bunch of configurations. So we took the number of shipments, divided by the number of configurations, and you can see it's somewhere between 1.4 and 2.7 configurations, shipments per configuration. That we've got the diversity with scale. And to be able to do this and manage it well is very complex. We want to be able to use resources around the world. We want to make the machines localized. And to be able to do that and share that IP is very complex in our environment to protect what's really part of our heritage, but be able to execute well and compete globally. And so it's a very important activity for us. Tell you just a little bit about the tools we do use. John Deere was one of the first users, but a bit fragmented. We have different divisions, different SBUs, and so we've gotten to where we're at in a couple different ways. Matter of fact, in September this year, we'll both go to PTC Creo. When I say both, the Ag and Turf division of the Construction and Forest Equipment division. So we're going to be in the same landscape for product modeling. In 2014, we're going to both move to PTC Windchill 10.2. And in 2015, we'll actually have one PDM environment globally. That's a big deal. When we have one PDM environment globally, we can share our processes to make sure it's the same as it's done in every location of John Deere around the world. It's really important to be able to do that to make sure we can share the same parts. We've got the same IP protection. We've got the same rules of how we manage our business. And so we're on a really important journey, and PTC is a very important part of that, of how we maintain that John Deere quality and do these things. And I'm really proud of my company. It's fun to work for John Deere. It's fun to work with products that are linked to the land, products that get dirty every day. And you know, as a mechanical engineer, I can feel it like this a lot of days, right? It's fun. I like to see things that belch smoke and turn over the soil. But you know, it's a very complex environment. We do, in our meetings, though, take a step back to our founder almost every day. And he had a great quote, and you can see it on the slide. It says, "I'll never put my name on a product that does not have in it the best that is in me." What a pledge. What a burden at times. And I'll tell you what, it happens in meetings all the time when people will say, "What should we do here?" And they'll bring up this quote. And we think about this a lot. And as we think about the challenge of growing your business and being in these different locations, different price points, and you have this heritage you can't ever tamper with. And it's important to be able to do this well. And how do you do that? You build robust processes, you trust people, but you communicate and you build relationships. And at the end of the day, the tools that we're here to talk about, the place where we're interacting is that communication device. It's the rules with how you develop products. And it's very, very important. It's just a really good example of why John Deere is a very important relationship with PTC. This is a key partnership with us as we look at our 2018 goal to grow from $25 billion to $50 billion. It's being able to have these things that allow you to avoid the traps that you can get into as you develop products. How you don't cut corners, how you have the right people making the right decisions, and when they don't know, they have a way to go back and look and see what the opportunities are. So we've had a very good relationship from the very beginning with PTC, and yet we're still working together saying how do we get better and look towards the future. An awful lot of what Jim talked about at the beginning is the challenge that we're dealing with today. So thank you very much, and I'm really pleased to be part of this activity.